So what I've made here is what I would like to call a what-if kit, or some would call it a survival kit. I don't think it's quite that much of a survival kit myself, but it does have things in it that could be construed as survival-ish if need be. Recently in British Columbia, we've had some major floods and major roads washed out, and people were stranded in their cars for a number of hours. We've had tornadoes in Kentucky, across the Midwest United States, and people in those areas are basically suffering in a myriad of different ways. And I was just getting into thinking about the different ways that I can take care of myself and take care of my family, and the things that I might need if I was stuck in my car. I've already got an emergency kit in my car: blanket, snow shovel, different bits of food that I might need, some water, and ways to heat it. I got a solar battery for like a power bank for my cell phone, and any other things that I might need, emergency radio, things like that. So if I'm ever stranded in my car, I'm not going to be terribly worried about it. Another thing that we have up here in Canada, I live near a large freeway known as the 401, and it seems like every winter we tend to have a large pile up of cars. And should it ever arise that I'm stuck in one of those things, I know that I've got what I need to basically take care of myself until actual help actually arrives. But I also have to consider that while help is arriving, it might not necessarily be arriving for me. There are definitely going to be other people that are probably in more need than I am. So my priority status is not going to be quite as high as other people who are around me who might need to be taken care of. Basically, this little kit is a situation where what if I needed this, or what if I needed that, or what if this arose, what could I use in that situation? These are little things to basically get you started thinking about what would I do if basically, things went wrong in my area or directly affected me in some way. I liken to keeping this on my person in a backpack. If I'm going to, I know for my nephews, if they were to keep this in their backpacks, they might be able to keep this. If you're kept locked on transit and you can't find a way home, you might need something like this. If you're out snowmobiling or ATVing, pretty much everything in this can help you in some fashion, and some of them aren't necessarily oh good, there goes some of my light. Some of these aren't necessarily going to be lifesavers, but at the same time they're matters of convenience as well. So first things first, a lot of these, what you see on YouTube, are called Altoid survival kits. Altoids are $4 a tin. I don't really like mints all that much, so I went to the dollar store and picked up what are basically candy mints. There's some sour ones, vitamin C tabs, but it is a metal container, and around it I have bought a bicycle tube and cut it up into pieces. So that's what's basically holding it together to make sure it doesn't fall apart. But basically, this here is just a super duper elastic, and the other thing is it's also highly flammable and it will burn for a while. If you needed to start a fire somewhere, this could be part of your fire starter. So there's that. So when we open this up, on the top we will have a number of our flat items, and on the bottom we have some of our other items. So as you can see here, there's a whistle, a pencil, safety pin, there's an antiseptic wipe. I'm going to go into a little more depth on what each of these things is and go over it for that. So we'll start at the top here. We'll dump these out. They're being held in by what's known as a Fresnel lens. So inside this little thing, you'll find there's two things here. This is a piece of foil. Foil is got tons of different uses. It's about a 6x6 piece, and you can basically take this and fold it up into whatever you need. You can wrap stuff with it, obviously. You can turn it into a drinking vessel or something that can scoop water or even drink water out of, a little tiny cup if you needed to. Also, it could hold other things if you were setting aside, nuts and bolts on the side of the road and you didn't want them rolling down the hill or something. If you were changing a tire or whatever, something to that effect, you could put that on. If you had yourself a little battery, you could actually use this to ignite toilet paper and such. Merely just make a thin strip, attach it to each side of the battery, and it will heat up and it'll ignite anything that's around it. So you can use this also as a fire starter. There's dozens of uses for foil. So that's in there. In here, as I mentioned, there's a Fresnel lens, or Fresnel lens is what I like to call it, but I guess I'm just too overly classy. So as I take the paper off here, you'll notice that we do have an antiseptic wipe. And in case you get a scratch, this has got a little bit of, it's almost a first aid kit as well. Nothing major as far as first aid. You should always have one of those on you, in either a personal one or one in your car. So that's just a little antiseptic wipe. We've also got a needle. So if you happen to need a needle to either get out a sliver or possibly stitch torn clothing or whatever it might be, there is a needle there. I'll get to the string later, which is here on the whistle. There's a match striker, which is a match striker. Also, there's the Fresnel lens, which actually is a microphone, a magnifying glass. But it is also possible that you could use this to use the sun to, again, add a beam of light to a small pile of accelerant or tinder, whatever it might be, and start a fire with that. Also, we have just a tiny piece of paper, which could be your used as a fire starter, rip it up, or simply give somebody your number, because I do have a pencil in here as well. If you need any information that you need to write down, you don't have anything on you, you do have something here. And also I have some Aqua Tabs as well. Basically there's two of them here, and if you drop one into a liter of water and wait 30 minutes, it'll make it drinkable water, so it'll get rid of all the nasties that might be in that. So that's in the flat part there. I got a large size safety pin that is better than your normal one. I wanted to make sure it was heavy duty, so if you split your pants and you lose a button or whatever it might be, also if you lose a strap off of a backpack or whatever it might be, there's that. Inside, this here is not a mint. This is actually a toilet towel. Basically it's a light hand cloth, and once you add a little water to this, it'll expand for you. So you can use that to wipe your unmentionables, or just to use it as a simple washing rag in conjunction with your antiseptic. In here I have a survival whistle. If you happen to be trapped in your car under snow, or you are upside down in an accident, as some of the people in Kentucky would have known, if they had a whistle and they were buried under the rubble of their house. Anybody who's buried in a car who's able to scream and yell for help, your voice is going to give out long before a whistle does. So having a whistle on hand in an emergency situation, and again, this can just hook onto your backpack, put it wherever you need to keep it where it's available, and you'll be able to have it when need be. Also, if you're in trouble, perhaps a dog or a person who is trying to do you harm is anywhere near you, perhaps blowing the whistle may help. You'll notice that it has a paracord lanyard. Well, actually it's not the full paracord. This is an inner strand of a paracord piece of string, or as they call it, 550 paracord. And I've just taken one of the strands out and wrapped it around. And you can also take this and actually undo it so it comes into 3 more different strands. So if you take that, you'll be able to use that in conjunction with your thread, or sorry, with your needle, and sew your pants together if you've gone to a classy place and your tuxedo pants split open. So there you go. So emergency whistle and a bit of paracord string. Moving right along, this is a pencil, which is a pencil. So again, if you needed to write a note, or you weren't able to stay somewhere where somebody was expecting you to be, leave them a note. Also, I have a knife in here, which I'm going to get to next. You can cut off bits of this, and it can also be used in conjunction with your paper and potentially your tinfoil to make a small pit where you can actually light up a fire for yourself. And being able to do that, I have put another 3 matches in here that are wrapped in duct tape. This is Gorilla Tape, and it is flammable, so you can take that off, and you can use it as tape, of course. You might have a cut or something where you need to tape it up. You can put the paper over top of your cut, or I have a makeup pad in here as well. This can also be used as an accelerant for a fire. Once this duct tape gets burning, it will burn for quite a while. So there's 3 matches in here. Use them with the striker, and they will ignite this, so you can go grab yourself some small twigs and start a small fire if needed. So that's the matches there. There's 3 of them there. Again, as I mentioned, the makeup pad. Again, you could be cleaning out a wound with your antiseptic and just dabbing this, or if you do have a wound, put this over top of it after you've tried to keep it from sticking to the thing. If you have some chapstick or something, put that on your finger first, or whatever it might be that you cut, and then lay that over top, and then use the tape around it. And then on top of that as well, I do have a small knife in here, and this is just a little Victorinox Classic. It's got a small blade, and with this small blade you can pretty much accomplish anything. If you've got a knife, you've got a chance. You can take this and basically, if you need to split wood, you can whittle down a small branch, get it to a wedge, and then potentially chop it larger pieces of wood with it by batoning through it. Grab a piece of wood and take that wedge that you got and start hammering it down through any cracks. If you need to start this, you can also tap this in. I suggest folding it like that so you don't snap anything in here. Set that on top, tap that into the wood so it starts a bit of a groove, then put that wedge into that groove, and you can actually split larger pieces as you keep going. On the other side here, we also have a flathead screwdriver and a nail file. And on the other side, let me close these so I don't skewer myself here. I also have a small pair of scissors for whatever you might need scissors for. I've got the string here as well, or if you ever needed to cut away a band-aid that was sticking to you, or pretty much anything else that scissors might need to be used for. The other cool thing that this has as well in here is a pair of tweezers. So if you get that sliver that I mentioned and you didn't want to use the needle, you have a small pair of tweezers in here as well. That just slides in like that. And last but not least, there is a toothpick in here. So if you had something caught between your teeth, you could use that toothpick, get that out. So that is the small Victorinox Classic, and that have yourself a knife and you've got a chance, as I say. Over here, moving on, I also have another thing as well. I have a small mini Bic Lighter, and as need be, I can use that for whatever I might need it for. Of course, it won't light right now because I've got it wrapped with a tie here. So if I need to light anything, I would have to move that tie. That can just turn around, take it off, and it'll go right back on as well. So you'll notice that it also is missing, trying to keep centered here. You'll also know that it's missing the child safety here. I've taken that off because if you do drop this in the water, trying to get this to dry off while it's got that child safety thing on here is a bit of a pain. So this will not light, at least I hope it won't. No, well, that thing is in the way. So you'll just have to turn that sideways, and then you can actually pop this off and put it back on. The reason I've got it on there in the first place is to avoid this thing from actually leaking out. If something else in the kit just sort of pushed on that little lever, it wouldn't drain out the gas, or the fluid, sorry. You'll also notice that there's a duct tape on this as well. It's about a 6-inch piece of duct tape or so, 3 to 6 inches, and it's wrapped around. Again, it'll ignite, and of course, it is duct tape, so you can use it for pretty much anything. Duct tape is the ultimate tool. And that is that for the lighter. Also down in here, if you're going to a party and you realize you didn't floss your teeth, or you got something stuck in your teeth after you went to dinner, there's a simple little gum tooth cleaner. Everybody knows what a Q-tip is. Again, fluff this stuff up. You can use that for fire starter as well. Q-tip is a Q-tip. Here we have a standard birthday candle. If you're celebrating a birthday of a 1-year-old, I guess this would come in perfectly handy. But mainly, I was thinking that you might not be able to sustain holding onto your Bic Lighter, a birthday candle will burn a lot longer than a number of other things to help you get a fire started if you ever needed to. Speaking of starting a fire, saving this for super emergencies. If you did need to start a fire, or you were out camping and you needed to get something going in the rain, this is a storm-proof match. It will stay lit and it will burn all the way down, even if you try to put it out. The wind won't put it out. You can dip it in water and it won't put it out. So using this in the rain, if you were caught in the rain in a storm and you need to get a fire lit, this is probably the thing that you would want to do. So that's the storm match there. Over here, if you'll take a look, in the very bottom of this, I have a large 2x3 bandage. Basically, it does what a bandage does. You could use this in coordination with this or the other things on here, but it's just handy to have a band-aid on you all the time. You never know. And I've made it nice and big because even if you have a small cut or a big cut, you got yourself taken care of. The other thing is here, this could be basically put water in this if you need to boil some water and take a drink to save it for you. You never know where you're going to be. Everybody needs water, and having an ability to actually scoop some water up and possibly use it if you need to is always a good thing. Also, it is it does reflect light, as does the aluminum foil. If you ever needed to signal somebody while you were screaming on your whistle. So, as I said, you can take this foil and make a little cup, and I'm going to show you how to do that right now. Let's move this cup out of the way. So you notice one side of the foil is much brighter than the other. So if you did need to signal somebody, you could use that as well. Again, you could also crumple this up into a ball if you needed to scrub something off of something. It's also a cleaner. And again, I mentioned using it to start a fire with a battery. So if you had a flashlight in your car, you could take one of the batteries out and cut this down so it has a nice thin area, and then put that against some tinder and it will light it up. But for now, to make a small holder or a small cup, if you weren't able to find use for that, or even if you were, you just basically do something to this effect. Fold these in like this, and it's just a quick little holder. Bend that down like that, bend that back like that, and then again pick it up, open it up, and you got yourself a small cup if you needed to scoop some water out of a pond or whatever it might be. You might need something where if you wanted to give somebody something else, some water of their own, you could pour some water into that. Also, again, if you've got anything that might have come out of your kit here and you need to pack it away, or as well, if you were decided that you were eating a bar and you wanted to keep it for later, you could use your foil. And as I say, foil can do 1,000 different things, so there you are. That's just one little cup. I thought it was neat. So there we go. So hopefully you never have to use any of this. But I have been of the mindset lately that most people will be, well, if I need something, I'll just call 911. Well, the problem is if, like we've seen in BC and we've seen in Kentucky and we've seen throughout history, you can call 911, but if they're dealing with other people and you are not high on their list, no help is coming for you. So these little things, if they tend to help out a little bit and ease some of the pressure that might be occurring in your area at a time that you might need it, anywhere from something as dire as I need fresh water to something as simple as I need to write down somebody's number if my phone's not working or whatever it might be. And again, hope you don't have to use any of these things, but it's always nice to have them. And I find that this is the sort of thing that people will never buy for themselves. So I hope you never have to use it, but if you ever do, I hope you remember that you've got it, and I hope you keep it somewhere where you've got it at hand if you need it. Anyway, that's my what if kit slash survival kit slash hey, you never know kit. So enjoy, use it wisely, and of course you can always build onto this or take things out or add things in that you think you might need. Like I mentioned, this isn't a mint, but maybe you want to keep some mints or some gum in here. Who knows? Whatever it might be that you might need to add or take away from this, by all means, think of your own, and let this be kind of a starter to get you thinking about what if something happened in my area. Be safe and take care of yourself, and hopefully this will just be a catalyst to other things that make you think about what it is that you need to do to take care of yourself and you and yours. All right, we will talk to you later. Bye-bye now.